You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, ChiroThin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Chiropractic Jobs Online, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, True Chiro, and the Social Health Experts Summit. Let's hustle. Hey everybody, good. I think it's still morning over here in the Grand Valley. We haven't hit the afternoon yet, but this is an edition of the Chiro Hustle live stream. And today I have an honor to interview Dr. Larry Goodman. There's all types of things we're going to dive into today. If you guys want to know, is marketing dead? We're definitely going to dive into that because there's so much more about marketing that has to do with the personal brand and development that we'll get into as well. But before they get started, I want to thank our sponsors today for this episode, the Social Health Experts Summit, which is this Saturday, the 19th. Dave Toohill and his team are putting this thing on. If you guys want to know about marketing and brand positioning and development for free, click onto this link right here, socialexperts.com, socialhealthexperts.com / there we have it, start. So thank you to those guys over there for supporting this amazing episode of Chiro Hustle live stream. Dr. Larry Goodman, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
So every time I talk to you and see you talk to someone else, there's this level of a moxie that you have some stuff figured out that helps people. And I know it's a very, it's conditioned based on the journey that you've gone through, because those of us that learn how to teach to others, we obviously have to develop these skill sets for ourselves. So let's talk about this concept that you developed with this whole person strategy.
So it started when I was in hands-on chiropractic practice and noticed that there was a whole person attached to that spine, and that you could literally think your way into a subluxation, and you could have a subluxation that would change the way you thought. And so by process of elimination and just plain frustration, I wound up having to dig deeper and deeper into the whole field of human behavior, because we're whole people.
So you developed a wheel process that you kind of like put somebody into a strategy, and you unlock areas that they need to pay attention to better.
So, the typical dialogue that people interact with one another goes something like this most of the time. How you doing? Fine. And my favorite unfortunate acronym for FINE is, it stands for flipped out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. And you just disappeared.
All right. I think there's still people out there with me. If you guys are out there with me, you gotta give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. I've sent the link out to Dr. Larry again. He'll be getting it shortly. And here he is back with me. If you guys can tell me if you guys are on with me, give me a thumbs up. So Larry's on with me again. Sorry, we've had my camera shut down for some reason. That's the price of doing this stuff, long distance over the internet. So thanks everybody that stuck with us. Dr. Larry, sorry for my camera had a malfunction there. I don't know what happened.
No worries. So we were talking about my wellness wheel and the tool of self-assessment. Yes. And what I started to say was most people's typical interaction with one another, when they ask the question, how you doing? The answer is usually something like fine, and my acronym for FINE is flipped out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. And the point about it is, people think that people don't really want to know the answer to the question. And more important than that, for what we're talking about, people rarely take the time to take a look within themselves. And so we came up with this self-assessment tool: spiritual, mental, physical, financial, career, family, and social and recreational are the 8 areas of life. And we developed a tool where you evaluate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10 and you score it on this wheel, and then you connect the dots. And once you connect the dots, what you'll see is a really good graphic representation of how you're really doing. And the point of it is that when there's too much imbalance, like you haven't had enough recreation, or you're not saving money enough, or you figure it out. The point is that if you stay too long unbalanced that way, you will get a bumpy ride. And you can request this as a PDF by going to goodmanfactor.com, and it's downloadable, this tool.
I think it's really amazing because as we were off camera, we were saying, I bet there's like 10,000 people out there right now that would raise their hand and say, if I had 1% of something else in my life, I could launch. I wouldn't be in the same position that I'm in. I'm looking to get to this echelon and I'm stuck here. I'm, despondent with my practice. I'm not having fun anymore. I'm not going on vacations. I'm working full time, and it's, I'm not, seeing my family, whatever it might be. Like you said, that there's some division out there within ourselves that disallows us from being whole.
And if you don't give yourself permission to look there, and if you don't give yourself permission to answer the question when someone really asks you, especially if it's someone that's got the tools and the power to help you to take a look at developing a solution, then it'll stay that way. It'll stay that way.
And I think so many people are afraid of self-actualization. And then they're even harder to describe that self-actualization to someone else that can help them. And I think that we box ourselves in and paint ourselves into corners a lot with our own inhibitions to say, you know what, these are my insecurities. I don't need to share them with someone else. I don't need to let somebody know what my back office looks like with my income. I don't want to let somebody know what my back office looks like with my diet.
The beautiful thing about coaching with video is you get to see the real person. When I started coaching just telephonically, you got some insight, but when you've got the ability to see what you called someone's back office, like see the face and see the body and watch the person change their posture in response to answering questions. Here, it's kind of like this. How you doing? I'm fine. I'm just fine. Being able to see that lets you see beyond the mirror, see beyond the illusion, see beyond the public, you should pardon the expression, the happy, angry face that they're putting out there. When I first started to do this work myself, the coach I was working with at the time, I'll never forget it. He said to me, behind that happy, outgoing, soft-spoken professional, there's a very angry man. And I remember thinking to myself, pardon my language, but what the bleep is this guy talking about? Who is he to say that about me? But I can tell you all these years later that he was spot on right.
Hey, I'm going to tell you this, and this is a add-on to that. This is a value add. One of my mentors, when I got into the chiropractic space, told me, Jim, if you just get out of your own way, you could change the world. And I resented him and was pissed at him for about 2.5 years. And I'm like, how dare you self-actualize me and talk to me like that? I'm fine. There you go.
There you go.
I'm fine. But as I learned to remove myself out of my own way, the field of opportunity I look down is just amazing. The road, I get in the fast lane now, and I don't even put a blinker on because I'm just full speed ahead now, because I don't even think about the things that are hindering, because there's no hindrance. And I think that when you realize that you're in that flow state and you're in the fast lane and you don't have to worry about blinkers because there's nothing in your way, that's an amazing realization for a lot of people. And I think when people start focusing in on those deficiencies, they can really launch. And that's, really the crux of why you wrote that book, right? The Goodman Factor.
Well, the Goodman Factor is the website. The book is Fridays with Goodman.
Fridays with Goodman. Okay.
And it's about one of my 9 a.m. Friday morning clients journey into self-discovery, because when he showed up the first day, we went through that. And he said, to the question, how are you doing? And he said, I'm fine.
We're always fine.
Well, because we get taught in the social arena that if you really answered the question, most of the people who are asking it don't really want to know. Or if they did know, they're not really in a position to do anything about it or to help you with it. So we just become this facade. We just live and hold on to this mask.
It used to be water cooler conversations.
Oh yeah.
And now it's coffee line conversations.
Yeah.
And you know, these conversations, they change, and the conversations, you know, they stay the same, but they change location. So, you know, as we develop into like this strategy of who we become, it's really important to know about, you know, here we go again. What's in the back office? What does your passenger seat in your car look like? like those are the things that we have to start uncovering for ourselves if we
when
want
I
to get
started
that position.
with the quote unquote thought leaders,
yeah,
and saw what they were like when they weren't on the platform, when nobody was around, when the how can I put it tactfully, when the epitome of positivity gets a room reservation canceled because his credit card didn't go through, and he has a fit at the counter at the hotel.
That's stress.
What's that?
That's stress.
Well, that's stress. And the point about it is we have within us the capability to reset if you learn how. If there is a skill that is underdeveloped in people in this culture we're living in now, it really is what D.D. Palmer called auto-regulation. It's the ability to adjust your attitude, adjust your physiology, and deal with when the present moment doesn't match your fantasy of what it was supposed to be.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Close for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, ChiroThin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Chiropractic Jobs Online, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, True Chiro, and the Social Health Experts Summit. Let's hustle. D.D. Palmer is onto something. That's the reason that we stand on the ground we do today, talking about the beautiful profession of chiropractic. If you guys wanted to check out Dr. Larry's episode with Chiro Hustle, it's episode 81 in the description up top. And if you guys wanted to listen to our feature episode on Chiro Hustle, which gets tens of thousands of listens to now, is pretty amazing. We're so proud of the product that we put out, and thank you for everybody that supports us on this journey. That being said, let's talk a little bit about why it's so important to mastermind and develop a deeper network.
Sure enough. So let's even just discuss what the concept of masterminding is about. Because I don't know about anybody else, but I've had moments in my life when I have been a legend in my own mind. And in those moments, what I noticed is that I can't see my blind spot. You know, when you're driving an automobile, even with the rear view mirrors, there's always a blind spot. And it's called a blind spot because you can't see it. And so many of us, no, most of us, no, all of us have these blind spots. And so without having a mastermind group of people who you have the courage to let the real you show up, who have the willingness to let other people get to know you, You just live in your own delusional fantasy about being, whether it's the great husband, the great chiropractor, you got your finances all handled, you're a great, whatever it is, it takes someone who you've allowed the opportunity to get to know the real you to be able to say, hey, listen, buddy, you might want to take a look at XYZ. Because there's room for improvement. You may not have it all quite as going on as you've been telling yourself. And if you get past the defensiveness, and if you recognize that in this mastermind session with a group that's fueled by love and the desire to see you grow and evolve, then you can take the information and use it for your greatest good. And you can then get to have your goodest life.
Amen. You know, when I hear what you say, I bet everybody could raise their hand and say that there's 5 people in their immediate family that could benefit from hearing this. If you guys are finding value in what we're talking about, this is a across the boards of conversation for chiropractic. This is a personal development across the boards conversation. And if people do want to have their goodest life, as Dr. Larry Goodman brands it as, it would be highly profitable for people to pay attention to those 5 people that are in their family that might not be getting the big idea about life. And they could listen to a second and third party discuss this topic, and they could say, man, maybe I have my head up my, you know what, and I need to get with the program if I want to be a good leader for my family, if I want to get that promotion for work, if I want to pay off this debt, or if I want to transform my family's life. A lot of these things that you're saying, they aren't only business principles, but they're personal development principles. And they can unlock so much potential within somebody. And I guarantee you, those people that are looking at you look at you as a successful one in the family. They look at you as a successful one in the circle. And that's why it's important for other people at different echelons to get together with mastermind situations, like we're doing at 10X Growth Con, and like we're doing with the Inner Circle group. And, you know, there's so much potential out there when you do build a community and a university of thought leaders, but you have to pay attention to, you know, serving value to that. And I think that when you do get that mastermind and these higher level thinkers in a room, those are the people that all of our family members, like I said, they look at us, Larry, as the successful ones. They look at us as the ones that actually did it. Well, the thing is they can all do it too. And they're all that 1%er, man. They have one thing inside of them that they have to unlock. And I know that what you do for people will help them, but I know what we'll do for each other also will help each other as a higher level growth pattern for us too.
My driving force for as long as I can remember in any interaction with anyone has always been to add value. That anybody, be the better for having had that moment of interaction with me, whether it's on a plane, at a restaurant. I mean, we were on vacation in Jamaica a few months ago, and at the table next to us, there was this family, and it was wild to see the kids were playing cards. They weren't on their machines. They were playing cards. They were getting along with each other. They were talking to one another, and we were just watching them. And by the time we finished our dinner, because I can be this way, I walked over and I had to say to the parents and to the kids how impressed I was that they didn't have their faces down in the machines. And the dad said, well, you know, that's an inflexible rule in our house, and it's not always popular. And what I got to say to them was, to the kids, that they have no idea how much their parents loved them by letting them break the chain of that addiction to the machine. And then I left. And I'm sure that as I left, the mom and the dad and the kids were having a conversation about this crazy guy that they never saw before, but they were also talking about the value that I added to their family dinner conversation.
So many people just need one person to say something to them. And I think that, it needs to become in vogue again for us to become more social with each other and to actually have mastermind where we meet people and have connection with each other. I think that that's one of the coolest things about what we're going to be doing here coming up at the end of the month is we're coming down to Miami to spend time with you.
Yeah.
I know you're bringing Martin with you.
Yep.
I'm bringing Luke. We're bringing Dwayne. I have a host of other people that are joining the Hustle team down there. So I think that that's a high leverage opportunity for people to actually create something and come together as a unit. And then who knows what's possible with when you become friends with the people that you mastermind with. That's just a whole nother opportunity right there.
You don't know what you don't know. And when you see somebody who's got something going on in an area that you, true to yourself, have some deficiency in, it rubs off.
Tides rise.
Just by hanging with them. To say nothing of if you actually had the conversation about how they got to that place or how they're doing whatever it is that they're doing.
It's that back to the old saying, don't be interesting, be interested. Yep. And when you get yourself around people, don't be the smartest person in the room. And, if you are the smartest person in the room, you need to find a different room.
Amen.
Well, Dr. Larry, it's such a pleasure spending some time with you. Sorry for the technical difficulties earlier. If you guys are watching this on replay and you guys found value in this, please hashtag value. One of you have stuck with us. Sorry, my camera has been dropping for this interview. Huge apology to everybody out there that's watching. But I was just trying to confirm Dr. Larry's back with me for the closing. This is it's been a very eventful Facebook Live here with Dr. Larry Goodman today. So we were talking about the power of the mastermind and what it does for us to elevate ourselves. And if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find a different room. And then we are going to say thank you for everybody that's worked through the technical difficulties with us. And all of a sudden the camera crashes again. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you guys found value in this, please hashtag value in there so we know that you're getting something out of these Facebook Lives. If you are watching this on replay, please hashtag replay in the comments there. If you do have any questions for Dr. Goodman or myself, please reach out to us personally. And please go to the link socialhealthexperts.com/start, and you guys can come on Saturday the 19th and have full access to amazing speakers that are giving you guys all the tips, tricks, and strategies to become better marketers in the marketplace. And with closing, is marketing dead? And let's talk the last topic here, law of attraction. Is marketing dead, and how do people market and brand themselves better, Dr. Larry?
I think the short answer to is marketing dead is marketing in the traditional sense of putting on a costume and speaking from a speech and acting the way you think people want you to be. Yeah, I think that's dead. This media, in fact, today, this broadcast has shown why. The ability to be resilient, the ability to have a sense of humor, the ability to go with the flow, the ability to be authentic. Branding really is about you. I do a talk from time to time for small and startup one-person companies, and the title of my talk is You Are Your Brand. Because what you see, what you do speaks so loudly that people can't hear what you say. Mm-hmm. And so the great marketing trends of today are really about becoming comfortable enough within your own skin. It's ironic and paradoxical that it takes practice to be authentic. Because if you're like most people, speaking in public is one of the most frightening things. For most people, myself included, when I started, if you put a camera up and pointed it at me, I could have froze and stood there and stared and been basically a zombie. But people want people who are real. They're so stuck in their own constricted social roles, that what they really want is to be able to be who they are, to unleash their greatest inner good man or woman, which is the slogan that we evolved to market my company, to unleash your inner good man. And yes, it's a play on words because that happens to be, by the grace of God, that's my last name. I was born that way. But the point of it is, there is in all of you an inner good man or woman who wants to come out, who wants to show who they are, who wants to add value. And that's the marketing of this millennium, in my opinion.
Well, I have to agree with you on so many different levels. As I've come into the marketing world, I've realized the things that some people are doing strategically, some things that are working, but the thing that resonates with people that create actual movement and actual like shifts in a marketplace are the ones that are inspirational, the ones that are connected on a consistent basis. And like you said, delivering value. It can't ever be like a one-sided story, like I've done this and this is me and this is why you should follow me. It should be more of a, I've done this and watch how I can help you achieve what I accomplished.
Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.